where we're going to have access or gain access to relaxation and our own onboard insight via the breath and quiet. So you're welcome to lay down or lay back down in a comfortable position, not going back to sleep, but just in a space of your body posture being in surrender. You're also welcome to turn on your side and curl up into a little fetus position and relax and envision just being in a cocoon, going into rest and to get to the bottom, the root of things, in particular self-sabotaging behaviors, as well as noticing and having an awareness on our autopilot behaviors. So we're going to gain access via the breath. The contemplation this early day is which voice is talking, right? Or quote unquote talking or communicating. So I invite you to question and have a healthy sense of curiosity about the tone of the communication. As we move through life, we are very cognizant and even triggered when people speak to us out of our name, call us out of our name, are very harsh, raise their voice when they're speaking or communicating to us. There's a tone, there's a feeling, right? We may call it a vibration, but there's definitely something palpable, something that can be picked up in the tone. And the tone of communication can give you a lot of information. For example, if the tone towards yourself or your internal communication as you cultivate your own listening, if you notice the tone is like very, very harsh and bossy, get up, do this, do that now. I invite you to discern that tone and the tone of a gentle nudging or a gentle awareness of something that we need to be doing or getting into action around, things that we say are important to us, things that we value, aka health, right? Knowing that the ultimate beauty product, first and foremost, is health. So I'd like to invite you to discern, to notice the tone. If it's an extremely harsh, condemning tone that we could say you're speaking to, or I would more so say the communication from inside that is directing and guiding your actions. Is it harsh? Is it abusive? Is it negative? Because we may not even be aware of how this makes us feel. Now, being firm with ourselves, that's beneficial. However, there's a lot that can be determined from the tone. And so when we're wondering why we don't follow through, these are some of the subtleties that we may not be noticing, that are not as obvious, and they require quiet. So I invite you to cultivate your quiet and return to your quiet, even for less than 5 minutes a day if you need to, if you're tight on time. You want to be able to discern what is the tone, the feeling, the energetics. If someone outside of you is speaking to you in that tone, we could say we have the quote unquote right to speak to ourselves any way we like, right? So that's our own internal communication. I invite you, though, to explore what that feels like. What that feels like. And is that difference? Is it a different communication from our own onboard divine innate intelligence that's communicating with us? And if we really listen or tuned into this inner knowing, can guide us and our hands towards picking up things and bringing them to our mouth that are beneficial for us, or that would have us turn our eyes away from certain things, knowing that it may have us experience and feel away. So I invite you to discern, where is the voice coming from, and what is that voice? It's the divine, onboard, innate intelligence that we are all born with. The second part of today's early day contemplation is a question to ask of your own divine, onboard, innate intelligence. And that question is, are we obligated? Do you feel obligated to put yourself in harm's way? In harm's way mentally, you know, do you feel obligated to listen to verbal abuse? Right? Because it's good for you. See, we have the part one, the A part of the contemplation. This is part B. Do you feel obligated? You know, we've grown up hearing, don't be a snitch. And so I think that mindset internally may not ever consider that applies to us. However, we, especially as Afro women culturally, we feel a sense of obligation, a sense of obligation to stay present or to put ourselves in the line of listening and opening our attention, and obligated to have an allegiance to a tone that is not respectful, that is not reciprocal. And we can identify this from outside ourselves. Can we identify what part of our psyche is harsh with us? It's harsh. And interesting how this harsh communication, right, is coming from us is not so harsh. It's not harsh enough to stop us from offing ourselves with certain substances, but will be critical when we don't abstain from certain substances. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like someone that is critical of you but doesn't support you. And so we're taking the attention in the cocoon and turning the attention in on ourselves first with a healthy curiosity, because the desire is to get to the root of our self-sabotaging behaviors. See if we, because it's slippery and it's really, really subtle. Yeah, it's important and foundational. And this often was not done when we approach healing or transformation as just a quick diet. You know, many want to beat themselves into submission or have their trainer or coach beat them into submission. And is that sustainable? I invite you to question whether or not that is even sustainable. Is that even sustainable? So, do we feel a sense of obligation to others that don't reciprocate a sense of obligation? And even if we have a relationship, do we feel obligated to continually subject ourselves and open our ears and our eyes and our time, our calendar, our resources, the most precious life force, the most precious resource being your life force energy and your focus and your attention? Do we feel obligated to subject ourselves to things that make us sad, make us feel bad, make us feel guilty? Do we feel obligated to do that? And at what cost to our psyche and our subconscious? Are we made to feel selfish if you choose not to engage in certain activities or certain conversations? Or are we pressured into a groupthink where we have to show up out of a sense of obligation to the people and to family members when we know that we're not in alignment? And does everyone else around you, do they demonstrate, not with words, with actions, the same level and degree of investment? These are some things to consider. So with that, I invite you to take a comfortable position. If you're not already in one, if you're there in a fetal position, you can stay right there. If you're laying in rest pose, still lying down on the bed or the floor, that's fine. whatever's comfortable for you. And we're going to just take in some deep breathing, inhaling and exhaling through the mouth, keeping the spine nice and tall, the belly button is slightly drawn in. Eyes can be open or closed. Today I invite you to keep the eyes closed and go into a deeper, even deeper relaxation. So here we go. So, the more you cultivate the practice of relaxation, you may or may not notice that there's this space where you're not asleep. Say just before sleep where you're very, very relaxed. Relaxation is very key not only to your body chemistry, but also prevention of the physical effects, the physiological and mental emotional effects of stress. So I invite you to revisit relaxation in the afternoon before you consume, and in the evening. Perhaps you want to turn this on while you're decluttering, which is always a wonderful practice. Self-care is a verb, is so critical and important that we nourish ourselves and be discerning of which particular part of our psyche is communication, which part of our spirit, our essence is communicating. Relaxation is key. It's a big part of the cocoon. So that we make the mental space to take on self-care. Not so much or just from, not even really from guilt, but because we really appreciate ourselves and appreciate, we show our appreciation. We would do this for someone we want a romantic relationship with. I invite you to really gaze at yourself with appreciation and to do the best for yourself. Feed yourself the best foods. Plant some beautiful herbs for yourself. So that's what's going to be going on in the garden today. So I'm inviting you folks to have a great day. Create a great day on purpose, one that you can be proud of and feel good about. in terms of what you're subjecting yourself and your psyche and your eyes and your ears to. Okay, see you soon. And we continue with this cocoon work.